You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm thy friendship. Oh, how
you know what time it is. Come brawl with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lames. Yeah, you know what time it is. Come brawl with them boys of the fall. Covered in gray and scarlet, massive. Stiff arms to your jaw, we breaking it. We sick of seeing you clowns with the crown, we taking it.
What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk about college football with real fans. Boy, do we got a juicy show for you tonight. It's gonna be a good one, man. We got Mello in the house. You know who my man on this side is, B. Moses. We got B. Moses in the house. It's fire time. We also got the bling bling in the house real fast for everybody. Got the shirt on the way too. So just a quick reminder before we get started here. Couple housekeeping items. We're the national champs. That's all I got for you. Let's get to the show, man. Let's get to the show. Hit that like button, man. Hit the share button for us. Get over there on Twitter. Get it on Facebook, man. Get in the comment section. Let's get this thing popping. But, so this used to be the hot topic, man. Then the off season and whatnot, this was talked about every day, and then it kind of pitter-patted out a little bit to some people. And now we finally hear Scum's response, man. Supposedly a 137-page response of selective pages that they want to put out there. They don't want to put the real bad ones out there, but they got some out there. So we're going to dive into that a little bit tonight. I know B. Moses has just been, eyes to the pages, grinding in, knocking this stuff out. So I'm going to turn the floor over to him to get this thing started, man. B. Moses, what you got?
Yeah, man. What's up, everybody? It's been too long since I've been on. It seems like it's been a minute, right? So I'm glad glad I was able to hop back on. But yeah, man, this I've been all over this Scum stuff, man. Like, I've been educating myself, which is one thing a lot of people in the media at the highest levels are not doing. And you could clearly tell that when they open their mouth and either present, untruths or just, say stuff that doesn't line up with the facts of the case. And so we're going to dig into that. We're going to talk about some of the media's takes. We're going to talk about Josh Pate and what he recently said, which was garbage. And we're just going to talk about some of the facts of the case and just how this works. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of this information is out there, y'all. Like, this is not, I want to address one thing, fellas. People assume that when we speak about these things, it's coming from some shadowy insider figure. No, this is public. The NCAA has all of their bylaws, all of this stuff on their website, y'all. Did y'all know this? They even have a dashboard for this stuff. There's a dashboard. You can go and see, Michigan, they failed to respond. And like, it's a dashboard. You can see the case. So for those people who have been saying, nothing's going to happen and it's gone away. No, it's not. There's a process and it takes time, and people need to understand that. And so this most recent news is because, like Devin said, Michigan responded and they gave Ross Dillinger what they thought, here you see my quotation marks, what they thought was the most favorable for them in this story, which is insane to me because it looked really bad. And that was supposed to be what was favorable for them out of the story. So can you imagine the rest that's going to come out? So, yeah, I just wanted to kind of set the table with that because, Scum fans have been all over social media. Still, at first, this is what they do. I peep them. Like on my page, when I post something, here they come immediately, right? But recently, when I posted the Yahoo article, and I posted the stuff that was really damning, it was kind of crickets low-key. What they do is they go back to their little hive. They go back to their little message board, and they talk to their little goofy insiders, their scam webs, and their Isaiah Holes, and they huddle up and they say, okay, what's the narrative? They gather the narrative, then they go right back to the boards, and you see it. It's like clockwork, and that's what they've been doing. So now they're coming back finally after about 48 hours to say, there's nothing different here. This is the same stuff, nothing different that we haven't already seen. What else have they said? Some of them have basically admitted to cheating, and they'll deflect and say, "Well, we didn't cheat that much, and you cheated with Tressel, with like all types of deflection." That's been their move, and so they're still refusing to take any accountability to say, "You know what, man, this was trash. We did wrong. This was bad." They're never going to do it. They're going to die on that hill, and guess what? We're going to be here to laugh at y'all when y'all actually do get popped, and y'all are going to get popped. I'm going to stop right there.
Yeah, dude, that's been so wild throughout this whole thing, from the very beginning till now, to hear their response to some of these things, because I feel like I am a smart enough, per se, if you want to use that word, person, to separate my emotions of the scum hate that I have and reality. And that's what I do as a person when I go read about these things, and I know what the Big Ten letter said. I know what the NCAA says. I know what their response says. And all of that points towards they did this. It's not the sign stealing, remember, right? So it's the advanced scouting. It's not even how they advanced scouted. It's the fact that they advanced scouted. In college, you cannot do that, okay? So I've always believed that they just respond this way because of that emotional side, that hate that they have for Ohio State. But now it's just like, I guess they actually believe, or some of them actually believe, that everything's fine. None of this happened. Harbaugh didn't know about it. Not all the coaches knew about it. It's not a big deal. You know, all the teams do it. Why are we the ones getting in trouble for it? Ohio State was the one. Ryan Day's brother did this to us. We cheated and did yada yada. The NCAA can't do anything anyway. Whatever, man. So this response, it's mind blowing, and like I said, I guess it just comes down to now. Like, people call them like a dumb fan base and all that. I don't like using that phrase, but at this point, I'm not quite sure how else to label it. I don't know another word to use. Like, it's not emotional at this point. You wouldn't think. But now, if anybody really believes that this is nothing, then I just don't know what to tell you. I really don't.
So shout out to Menace. I mean, I was watching live last year when they started that narrative about Ryan Day's brother, and they told everyone that it was just a joke. They're trolling, and they just ran with it. The national media, that just shows the narrative that's trying to be pushed by these big companies and all these podcasters and on-air personalities that, like, I saw what Josh Pate said. I don't think he really believes that. I really don't. I think somebody put a battery in his back and told him to go ahead and say that. Same thing with JD Piquel. And JD, stop posting stuff about this scandal and then putting Ohio State in it as if Ohio State has something to do with the scandal. Like, it's so annoying. You two are being crazy, and I like your shows, but you're disappointing right now. Let the NCAA respond, and I guarantee you it's not just going to be a fine. If you think that's what it's going to be, then guess what? There's going to be no rules, because everybody else that has more money than Michigan is going to do way more worse stuff than what they just did, and there's going to be no rails at all. So, like, if you think they're not going to do anything, I think you're just out of your mind.
Yeah. So let's do it. I was gonna wait for the JD Pickle, and I'm sorry, it's two. I can't resist calling him Pickle, and Josh Pate. So I was gonna like build up to this, but since you mentioned him, because we gotta go in on Josh, man. Listen,
yeah.
Hold up, real fast, okay. Mello. Should we wait? Should we hear more of? Should we hear more of what their response included? I think we should dive into that so people have more information as to why we are responding the way we are to Josh Pate. We'll give him more facts. You guys want to hear some more facts and proof before we really go in on somebody, even though I'm pretty sure everybody already knows most of this stuff anyway. But yeah, let's dive in. B-Most, didn't you say you had some breakdowns of their response?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, let's
do that. Yeah, so we can hit on some highlights of the ridiculousness of their response. And right now, what I'm looking for specifically, and I mean honestly, I could just tell you off the top of the head. I know this stuff so much. So one of the most ridiculous parts of their response was specifically with Sherrod Moore. was that his excuse for deleting the 52 text messages, drum roll please, I was angry at how Connor Stallion stole this team's glory and got the credit for what we did on the field. I just couldn't take it. Meanwhile, they're giving this Joker a game ball. Remember that clip?
Yes.
Oh, but
yes.
you're so pissed off at him. Listen, I want to smack somebody. It's so stupid. It's
like, just hold up. Who gave him the game ball though?
Harbaugh.
Okay, so that should tell you something, huh?
The head coach gave a low-level staffer the game ball. And you mean to tell me, bro, listen.
You didn't know, though.
It's just, it's stupid. It's stupid. Michigan has been wagging their finger and basically throwing up the middle finger to the NCAA this entire time. And now, remember when the first rough draft for the NOA came back? I'm sorry, not the rough draft, but the actual NOA came back. Ward Manuel was on an interview with Scam Webb acting real somber. He was real like, when we do wrong, we can't break the rules. And they went from bet and super arrogant and we're going to take you a-holes to court to, we gotta make sure we abide by the rules. And they knew what was coming. And so they've also been fighting the FOIA. They've been fighting tooth and nail, like all the media outlets trying to get like the FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act, to get that NOA. They've been fighting it. And also Ward Manuel had a comment. He had a quote talking about the leaking of the first, like the rough draft. Basically, to paraphrase the quote, and you can go look it up. I'm not making this up. He basically said they're going to do everything they can to keep that under wraps. And they were not happy about how it leaked out. So they've been trying to hide this in a way because they know when it comes out, it's going to be some heat. They know, listen, and we'll get to this in a minute. I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but I got the Scum fans keep trying to compare this thing to Tennessee, right? Mm-hmm. And they're pointing to the Tennessee infraction and say, well, look what Tennessee, they got off with no bow band and no this and that. I'm going to show you all that later, the differences between these cases. But I'm saying that to say, at the end of the day, if the NOA was a nothing burger, like they said from the beginning, they would have released this to the Ross Dellingers and all the other media outlets as quickly as possible so that they can end this dark cloud that's over their program. But why haven't you done that? It's because you know it's bad. And we're going to get more into that. I don't want to just keep dominating with talking. Well, I got a lot more to say, but I'm going to pass the mic and we'll kind of get more into details about it. But I just wanted to give y'all one example of the ridiculous response from Michigan. And that Sharon Moore was probably at the top of the list of the excuse why you basically destroyed evidence, or you attempted to, was because you were angry at Connor Stallions because he took credit for what the program accomplished. Come on, dog. Come on.
Yeah. Did he not, when this first came out, what was his excuse? Was it the same? I feel like the fan base had a different excuse for why Sharon Moore deleted the text. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was. I can tell you what it was. He said he just deletes his text messages every now and then. They delete them. You know what I mean? Just to kind of keep the text message. No, just stop it.
So it's changed. It's changed. Just like they have changed with their responses every time. You mentioned it. I mean, after Ward Manuel did the thing and said we got to accept, in the fan base kind of chilled out a little bit. And now, just because time has went by and nobody's talked about it really that much, they're back to bet. You know what I mean? Or, hey, you're not suspended, Jim Harbaugh. We'll sue you. We'll take you to court.
Right.
Well, I guess he can be suspended, for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So, like, this is a pattern that keeps happening over and over again. And doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is insanity, right? So it would be insane for us to think that all along the way, everything that they have said has been punched in the face and smushed in the dirt. Then they change their response. A little bit of time goes on, and then they're back to bet. Then they get punched in the face. The NOA comes out. And all these responses, like, that's just one part of it that B. Moses talked about. I can think of several other more. I'm sure we're going to get into them. But now we're back there. So what do you guys think? Do you think that they're going to be right this time? The third time's a charm, and their fans are going to be right? No, man, it's going to be the same thing. Now they're going to be a chameleon and conform to whatever they need to make themselves look like they're better than they actually are. And they cheated, man. Own up to it. Own up to it. You know
like
what I mean?
I told 3M and Maniac, I have a bet with them. I bet them that Bryce Underwood wouldn't take one snap under center in Ann Arbor, and I'm sticking to that. I think that the punishment is going to have these recruits running for the hill. You think if they get a 3-year bowl ban or a multi-year bowl ban, that Bryce Underwood is going to stay there and just rot? No, he's going to bounce. People are like, well, he got paid 10 to 13 million. Yeah, you think his agent isn't smart enough to put a clause in there that if you get a bowl ban, that I get to keep a certain percentage of leave without having to pay you back with anything? And Team Up North is desperate enough that they're going to do that. They couldn't get recruits. So they're coming off an 8-5 season. So to me, I think they're going to get hammered. I think it's going to be a sledgehammer. It's not going to be the little hammer that could knock you out in the garage. It's going to be a sledgehammer to the chest that's going to feel like a 12 gauge, like Cardell Jones is throwing that ball right at your chest from 5 yards away.
Yep. All righty. I'm throwing both of you under the gun, putting you on blast. You ready? I'm going to be one of them. Yeah, but Michigan is way too big of a school. There's way too much money. The Big Ten Network has invested too much money. All these, channels and stuff. There's just too much money involved. The NCAA, there's no way they're going to make a decision and allow such a high-profile school to not make them money in bowls and on channels and different things like that. So because of money, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do that to such a high-profile school. What would be your guys' response?
First of all, delusional scum fan. All right. The college football playoff did just fine without you this year. They had Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State representing the Big Ten, making a lot of money. That's one. Number two, before you started cheating for 3 years, you were a non-factor. You were not in the playoffs. You were not in the national championship race, and the Big Ten survived, and college football survived. Do you remember that? Do you remember that? Huh? So this cash cow, they can't live without us, and we're too big of a brand garbage, is trash. Also, let's go back. Somebody brought up Reggie Bush and USC. USC is a big brand, a big, sexy Hollywood brand, and they got popped, okay? Ohio State got a freaking bowl ban for players, which will be laughed out of the room today, getting free tattoos for exchange for their own stuff they earned on the field, jerseys, gold pants, whatever. They got publicly ridiculed and show cause for the coach, which got fired, and a year bowl ban, which we would have won the Natty against a bad Notre Dame team. I'm sorry, a mediocre Monte Teo doesn't have a real girlfriend team. Like, what do you think is going to happen to you? And we can segue into the Josh Pate from this if y'all want.
Yeah,
but that is ridiculous and it's stupid. And there's no evidence. There's no real evidence to back that up. There's no examples to back that up. So stop it.
Yeah, there's examples the opposite way.
Exactly.
Mello, you gonna say something?
I mean, look what they did to the Ohio State. It's the biggest brand, period, in college football. In all of collegiate sports, Ohio State football is the standard. So if they're going to do it to that team, you think they're not going to do it to Team Up North, especially after you gave them the double bird all last year and laughed and spit in their face? They're humans. You think they don't want their pound of flesh? You think they care? They're sitting here listening to Josh Pate and JD Pickell about their opinions on what's going to happen. No, they don't give a damn what they think. They're going after them, and they're gonna hammer them, and that's just what it is. And like I keep telling everybody, don't get upset about it. Let them go ahead and talk. They're gonna look real dumb by the end of July, which is the latest that this whole thing is gonna be all set behind. And I hope you have fun, Yoder, donating to whatever cause that Kurt decides to make you donate to.
Amen. And before we listen, I know this Josh Pate thing is juicy, but I still think we got some priming to do.
No,
because I know
I agree. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was going to say there's one more thing, at least one more thing I wanted to touch
Yeah.
on before we get to Pate.
Yeah.
This might be it because it's kind of a question. I've been seeing this thing circulating about a response. I don't know if it was in their response about Connor trying to get a GA to rent a car and go steal signs. Was that in their response?
Yeah. So basically, in the NOA that the NCAA sent, they showed they have quotes, and Ross Dellinger, he did a podcast with 40 and Wetzel the other day about this, and they ran through it. But basically, there's a quote in the article that says some GA was told by Connor Steigens, hey, listen, you're going to get a rental car, drive down to Georgia and scout Georgia, right? And I'm paraphrasing, but you can go read it yourself. Chris Partridge, I guess, the GA said, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be involved in your sign stealing scheme. Okay, that's in quotes. And Partridge came back and basically rebuked him as well, like, no, he's not going to do this. Let him be a manager. We're not doing this. So that was in the NOA. So crazy, right? But remember, I don't know if y'all remember this. It brought me back to the Venmo receipts. Y'all remember the Venmo receipts that came out?
Yeah.
Remember the Venmo receipt that had the Georgia game? On the Venmo receipt. So maybe he had somebody else go down there. But stuff like that. It's like, okay, yeah, sure. We're not cheating.
I gotta ask you both this. You remember 2022 Peach Bowl? We're sweeping the Benz Stadium. You find a camera.
Yep.
Now, who was practicing the Benz? Ohio State and UGA.
Yep.
Who else was in the playoffs at the time? TCU and the team up north. And I remember when it came out, and I'm like, oh, look at Kirby. This is before we knew what was going on with the team up north. I'm like, oh, look, Kirby's trying to spy on us and get our plays because he's that nervous about Marvin Harrison and C.J. Stroud. Now it all makes sense. They wanted to get film on UGA in our practice so that way they were ready because they just assumed they were going to beat the brakes off of TCU, which did not happen. So it all comes full circle if you think about it. You can connect all the dots of what they were doing.
Yeah, there's more proof that whatever their fans assume is just wrong. They assumed they'd beat TCU. It didn't happen. They assumed the cheating didn't happen. It happened. There's only one more thing I wanted to kind of get the point across. It might be what you're about to hit on, but in the NOA, we finally learn where this all started, correct? Yeah. It wasn't Ryan Day's brother and the thing. And there's still fans trying to push that narrative still. And there's proof. And let me remind you, what Bimo said earlier is a big deal. The NCAA quoted that quote in this letter. So clearly they have a couple sources somewhere. But we find out in this letter, correct me if I'm wrong, that this came from somebody inside their organization, correct?
Correct. And on top of that, so let's not skate past that, because not only did they make themselves look stupid for months and harassed Ohio State fans and harassed Ryan Day's family and Ryan Day because of this, it's like we just don't. We want to pause on that for a second, y'all. This came from a joke that Zach Smith and Menace to Sports had on their podcast. I'm sure y'all have all seen that.
Yep.
Him and Chris joking about Ryan Day's brother being a PI and all that other stuff. And these idiots took that and ran with it, and it became a whole thing. And so now to the point that it had to be addressed in the NOA. So with that said, now also in this most up-to-date report, guess what? Michigan is demanding a pre-hearing to try to get the NCAA to tip their hand on who the rat is. Why? Because they want to try to expose the rat and discredit the rat as a disgruntled former employee. You can't trust them. That's what they're trying to do. Now, based off what I've read in the bylaws and all that, the NCAA is not under any obligation to reveal the rat. So my question is, why are you going to these great lengths to this pre-hearing? I don't know. They've been stupid through this whole process. But that is not what I was going to touch on, Dev. But I don't want to hop off. I'll get to that after y'all comment more on this.
I mean, that's a desperation move if you think about it. And you know what's funny? I watched Isaiah, what's his name?
Holy Hole.
Terrible last
name. I was
going
to say something else, but we don't do that on our show. But he was saying when because I think it might have been JR called him out about you're still pushing this Ryan Day's brother agenda. And he said, well, they believe that in Michigan, in the circles of Michigan, so I'm going to keep running with it. What? But you know it's not true. So why are you still running with it? Then also, he's talking about, he said, I saw him say this. He said, oh, Michigan already knows who the snitch is, and they've known for a while. So how you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. If they knew for a while, you wouldn't have been pushing the Ryan Day's brother thing from the beginning, right? Does that make sense to you guys? Or am I just the one losing?
No. That's a great point. It's
Hey,
like,
go ahead,
go ahead.
Moses.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I can only picture right now. I can picture whoever Scum's attorneys are, whoever the leader of that organization is a brilliant businessman. Because I can just picture them now convincing them, oh, yeah, you guys, you got this case for sure. You know what you need to do? You need to keep extending because we're going to keep finding evidence to. But oh, dude, they're raking in the cash because let me tell you something. If you got your law degree and you're a lawyer, you're bright enough to know that they're screwed. You're plenty bright enough. If you're a businessman, you're also bright enough to know that the more you convince them they think they can win, the more money is going to be in your pocket, bro. So as we were talking about that, for some reason, I was just picturing some attorney just sitting in the back, closing his office and just laughing so hard, being like, oh, my God. They seriously believe they're going to win this thing? But anyway, continue, B. Moses.
Yeah, so listen, we could literally do, you know how we did the 8-hour Scum trash talk, whatever. We could literally do an 8-hour show to retrace the steps of everything that's said, all the contradictions, all the lies, or everything, the timeline.
The sunglasses.
Oh, but we haven't even talked about Central Michigan.
I know.
Man, which is it's just like, are you kidding me right now? And they thought they were slick, and I'm going to get to what I was going to hit on in a second, but they thought they were slick. This whole time, the Dave Portnoys of the world and the Scum media, they've been trying their best to get out in front of this and push their propaganda. And you see, and listen, I called this months ago that they were going to do this almost to the T of the wording they use, the overreach, and they're overcharging. They're going to try to cry foul because they know what's coming and they want to try to win the court of public opinion. It's a desperation move, but that's what they're going to try to do. And they're already putting language out there, planting seeds, trial balloons. The Netflix documentary was a huge propaganda piece, and Michigan fans ate it up. Hook, line, and sinker. Everybody's doing it. They bought it. It's so stupid. If you ever seen that Netflix documentary, it's buffoonery. Yes. And these idiots ate it up like it was just gospel truth. So anyway, unless y'all got something to say about that, I was going to pivot to the other thing I wanted to hit on.
Do your thing.
I'm good. All right, so listen. If y'all deal, I forget who in the chat, I think Sean Rawlings said, I deal with a lot of Scum fans. I do, man. I do. First of all, they just troll voluntarily, and sometimes I jab them back with memes and videos and stuff like that because they can't help them little selves. They have to comment. On one end, we don't care. Who cares about you, suck eyes? Yet you're leaving your third paragraph on my page.
Right.
Go on somewhere, man. Anyway, so listen. One of the things they keep saying is they keep pointing to the Tennessee case. And then this is another great segue to the Josh Pate stuff, but they keep pointing to Tennessee. Well, look what Tennessee, they didn't get bowl bans. I got their whole NCAA, you know, what the NCAA does when everything is settled, they have everything on their website. I got it right now. You can see their charges. You can see they give a detail of what happened, everything. So check this out. Tennessee had a cheating scheme. They were paying players. It was documented. It's all here. And they got failure to monitor. But guess what? Big paragraph here I'm reading. It says exemplary cooperation. Basically, Tennessee, you were dirty. You did wrong. But kudos to you because your cooperation was exemplary. And they lay it out. And they talk about how they were very cooperative. And let me get to the part that I want y'all to see of why they did not get popped as much as they could have, because bowl bans was on the table, but because of them, you know, have exemplary cooperation, they went light on them. And so, and they lay it out here in the paragraphs. basically saying, hey, because of this, we took that off the table. However, here's the fines, here's scholarly reductions, whatever. Here's my point. In the verbiage, and I'm not going to read it all, you can go look at it yourself, but in the verbiage, it talks about the pros and cons of cooperation and how you'll be rewarded, or there'll be more leniency when you have exemplary cooperation. But it goes into the opposite. When you don't have exemplary cooperation, then on top of that, you're a repeat offender, which Scum is. That's the heat right there. Level 1, 6 level 1 violations, and you haven't cooperated. You've been defiant. You've been threatened to sue, this, and that, all that. So Scum fans keep pointing towards the Tennessee case where they didn't get bowl bans, but did you read the fine print? They were cooperative the whole time. There wasn't no bet. There wasn't no go ahead and try us, we'll take you to court. It wasn't none of that. So that's why they got off a little lighter. So you cannot claim Tennessee. You can't do it. It's a totally different animal. And on top of that, that was more related to paying players. Listen, I don't even know if I got time. Do I got time to read this quote real quick?
Yeah,
Fellas,
you got time to do whatever you
No,
want,
dude.
brother.
because,
Read
I
that
don't know if I'm cooking or if I'm rambling.
No, you're
cooking.
cooking.
All right, so
I feel
look.
like I'm watching a show. I forgot I was on a show.
So look, man. So check this out. And I'm not going to read this whole statement, but y'all got to remember the Big Ten, the language that the Big Ten used when they were first responded to Scum, when this all came down, was scathing. It was scathing, and it was language that they don't typically use for just your rinky-dink violations. Okay? So I'm going to read y'all a little bit of this. It says, the integrity of competition is the backbone of any sports conference or league. That is especially true for sports contests between student athletes. Athletes compete to win. All right. And it says competition that is only about winning while disregarding the rules of fair play diminishes all of us, including our institutions. The integrity of the competition, remember that, must be preeminent. Its value is fundamental and far exceeds the value of winning. Indeed, it is the very source of any value in the university established violations. It goes on talking about the integrity of the game. Like it keys in on the integrity of the game, and it talks about the on-field cheating scandal that gave them a decided competitive advantage. This is the verbiage they use. This is not something they use for $500 handshakes and just giving guys inducements, which is wrong. But this is a whole nother level of verbiage and vitriol. So I'm trying to lay this out for y'all to say from the very beginning, this case has been different. It has been set apart from just your run-of-the-mill NCAA case. So when you're talking about the Josh Pates and all these others who are just brushing it off like it's not a big deal, you haven't been paying attention. Like, it's been consistent. The Big Ten, Tony Petitti, NCAA has told you from jump. I'll remind y'all one more time. It was so bad, they told Michigan State they didn't have to play. When has that ever happened in your lifetime where they tell a team that you don't even have to field a team with all the money on the line because of the safety of the players? Are y'all hearing me right now?
Oh, I'm hearing you.
I'm not y'all, the audience. But I'm saying, like, that is some heat right there. And it's so I get frustrated because I just don't like stupidity, number one. But it's just like, come on, y'all. So y'all just expect them just to get off scot-free with this? Like it's just another rinky-dink violation? Nah, bruh. And we can get into the Josh Pate stuff, but I had to go off for a second, man.
Yeah, we'll do the Josh Pate stuff next, but it's kind of funny. You were talking about how Tennessee cooperated. Okay,
Yes,
now
fully.
there's like stages here, right? So you can cooperate, you can not cooperate, or you can be on the other end of cooperation, which is actually like fighting the cooperation. I don't know the word I'm looking for here, but the point being is that not only were they didn't cooperate, like they went a rung below that, and they did this. They destroyed hard drives. They did the opposite of cooperation. They didn't just meet in the middle. They didn't just sit in silence. They didn't just plead the fifth. They tried to destroy evidence. They lied. Coaches ran. I mean, they tried to cover stuff up. I mean, they did all these things. And to answer Kentaka, tell your friend that that's not cooperating, because Kentaka wants to know. He's asking for a friend. If destroying hard drives counts as cooperating, it does not, my dude. But yeah, that's what I wanted to mention. And there's still, like, I mean, Arizona State, and there's all these, they only like to twist. They've been doing it the whole time. Twist and look and only pull up the pieces of evidence. Like, they're not even real evidence because it doesn't even match, that makes them look like they're okay. Like, everything's okay. I guess it helps them sleep at night. Kind of like how we just won a national title. And the only thing, we got somebody in our chat right now saying, well, you won a national title, but you didn't beat Scum. You didn't beat us. Congratulations on your 7-5 season. We're the national champs. Like,
best 8-5 team in the history of college football.
I really don't give a dang, to be 100% honest with you. I got one of these on. You know what I'm saying? Like you did. You beat us on the field. I will give you a hand clap. Well done. Good job. That's all you get. You're not going to – nobody cares about you. That's all you get, dude. People care about this. Look at that. That's what they care about. So, yep. Mello.
And to be honest, once July hits, you're going to be irrelevant for a long time, and nobody's going to talk about you. It's going to be like when Jim Harbaugh first got to your team, and he lost 7 in a row. You guys were obsolete. Nobody cared about you. Everybody thought you were the laughing stock of college football. You almost got your blue blood status revoked. So you could live in that world, in the fantasy world. You have 6 months, 180 days to enjoy. This is the most relevant you're going to be for the next probably decade. So enjoy it while you can. I mean, but it's kind of a weird flex, trying to flex. Oh, we beat you. We were 8-5, but you guys won the Natty. And you not only did you win the Natty, you dominated your way to the Natty on the hardest path in the history of college football. And you beat 5 top 5 teams by blowouts, and you beat 6 top 10 teams. That's never been done. So, like, go ahead and flex. You guys are irrelevant. You're a bunch of bozos, and that's just what it is. And you guys are so cheering Connor Stellings and Hairball, and they bounced on you, and they're about to leave your program in a sinking hole. And let's see how you're talking about them this time next year. I bet you it won't be the same pleasantries.
Yeah.
Can I make one quick point?
Yeah.
As we keep talking, more stuff is coming to me. So really quickly, I want to explain to y'all about the NCAA versus the court of law. Okay. So the COI, I'm sure y'all have seen the COI. That stands for the Committee on Infractions, right? Yep. So it's a part of the NCAA, but it's the committee who actually hands down the ruling. They're the ones who get the evidence and they hand down the ruling. Okay. So listen, let me explain something to y'all. Every institution, university that signs on with the NCAA agrees to the NCAA bylaws. Okay. Right. So this people keep talking about, well, they're just going to sue. They got better attorneys. It doesn't work like that. The COI is the judge, jury, and executioner. That's what they signed up for. That's what every school, Michigan, Ohio State, Purdue, whoever, Florida, they all signed up for that when they agreed to be a part of the NCAA. Okay. So if the COI, NCAA, deems you guilty, says we have evidence, they use the word uncontroverted early on in the process. Like, there's no doubt that you're guilty. Like, there's no question. Okay. So this is not a case where they can just say, oh, well, we don't agree, we're going to take you to court. The only possible way that they can take the NCAA to court is if they can prove that the NCAA didn't abide by their own bylaws. Okay. And good luck with that, because the NCAA is look at their roster. They consist of attorneys themselves, high level, great resumes. They know what they're doing too. So this whole we're going to sue them and bleed them out in court stuff is ridiculous. It's more scum posturing. And I'll just end it right there.
Yeah, Mike Green, thanks for the $4.99. He said, B. Moses, what's the deal, my boy? We're the mother-loving champs. OH.
Mike,
that's
my dude.
Appreciate you, Mike.
What's up, brother?
Man, I was about to say something. You got me all fired up. No. It was because of something you had said that got me fired up, but I forget what it was. So let's move on to what we all are itching to talk about. Something that blew my mind when I saw this, and I was just like, dang, I did not ever expect this to come. I actually tweeted it about today, man. I was like, dude, it's so crazy how many big faces of college football and some of the takes that they're having on this thing and the way that they defend Scum and the way that they try to twist their words too, it's kind of mind-blowing. And I got a pretty big, it was very surprising to me to hear, Josh Pate talk the way that he talked, and I was very surprised by it. So I don't know which one of you guys wants to start and go in on that, but I'm here to listen.
I'll do a quick little blurb, and then I'm gonna let B Moses just do his thing. But to me, I feel like all the big people are pushing narratives. That's all it is. They're trying to pull cover to try to hope that if they pull out this false like bravado of like you shouldn't do anything, that they'll get more people on their side, and maybe the NCAA won't do anything, and they'll go easy on the team up north, which I think it has zero bearing on what's going to happen or the outcome. And I think really by what they're doing and pushing that narrative, as you can see everything that B Moses put out there, which those guys, I don't know if they know it or not. And if they do come on their show and say they know it, then you're just being ignorant and you're trying to make your fan base ignorant. And I don't understand why anybody's going to watch you once you're discredited come July. You're just pushing a narrative, and that's all that it is. I don't even know if they really truly believe it. Now, JD Pickle, he might actually believe it, but I don't think Josh Pate can believe that. I refuse to think that man thinks this truly in his heart.
Hey, before we go on, I remember what I was going to say. B Moses, you brought about their only hope is so the NCAA screws up. Well, this is where the thing that aggravates us is how long this is taking. Well, this is that blessing in disguise. The fact that the NCAA and the fact that's why when the Big Ten did what they did, they didn't go like all out about it. Because they didn't want to overstep their bounds and give Scum a way out. That's why the NCAA has granted all the extensions and done everything that they can, because they're eliminating any way out for Scum. And Scum is just sitting there waiting and biding their time and trying to get this to stretch out, waiting for the NCAA to trip up, and it's not happening. And that's why every one of their responses, it just gets more and more radical every single time. It gets more and more wild and leans more and more towards the truth every single time because they're getting backed in a corner. The NCAA is not going to give you a way out. They're not going to go out of their way and break one of their bylaws to give you that. It's just not going to happen. Look how they're so slow and deliberate for this very reason. Yes. It ain't going to happen.
Yep, absolutely. That is a fantastic. Thank you for bringing that out, man. Thank you. Like, because even people were pissed at Tony Petitti for not doing more, but they have the Big Ten has their own bylaws. He literally went to the very limit of what he could do. Now, here's the kicker. Don't forget this, y'all. The NCAA grants the conferences the ability to go back and reach and pop them again after the ruling comes in. Did y'all know that? After the NCAA lays down their ruling, Petitti can circle back and smack them again.
He said that in his letter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you are right, Bev. They're following the letter of the law to remove any doubt. So once you then they just been letting them hang themselves the whole time.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. You want to cooperate? All right, bet. Just like on the Netflix documentary, they already had the information about Central Michigan. They knew it was Connor Stalions on the sideline, but they asked him anyway. They asked him. Maybe, I don't know if y'all saw the documentary. It's towards the end.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they asked him the question already knowing the answer. You know what I'm saying? So the NCAA, they can be shrewd. They have humans. They have their process. And they told you from the beginning they already got the goods. But y'all up here trying to act like, oh, we know you're overcharging. Nah. Just keep on doing what you're doing. We gonna wait this out. It's gonna be worth it 6 months from now, whenever. It's gonna be more than worth it to see you clowns have to squeal and squirm as your trophy evaporates in the wind. All right.
Yeah. Another thing real fast. They're trying to compare to Tennessee. I got a question for you. Was Tennessee a repeat offender?
No, they were not a repeat offender.
Oh, wow. Okay. So another difference, right?
Yeah.
They're repeat
also,
offenders.
Like, this is my thing to Pate and Piquel. Do you think it's right that literally, CJ Stroud probably lost 2 Heismans because of their cheating? He lost millions of dollars because he dropped because of that game. And you think it's fair? And you're sitting here trying to throw Team Up North a bone as an organization. There's coaches that have been fired behind this. Like, there's people's lives that have been ruined. death threats. So like for you, I have no feelings for you guys. Like when you are proven wrong, and I swear I'm beating your chat, super chatting it up, and just talking trash straight to you every super chat. And that's
don't
what
give
it
him,
is, because you're
don't
not
give him
gonna
money.
live this down for how you use your platform. I don't care.
Yeah. So let's get into it. So y'all been asking what Josh Pate said. So in summary, he basically said that the NCAA, first of all, he didn't deny that there was cheating. He didn't even really touch on, to my knowledge from watching, he didn't like touch on the seriousness of their infractions, nothing like that. He took most of his time touching on the fact that the NCAA is antiquated. They don't have any teeth, and they're certainly not going to try to destroy a program with a big of a brand as Michigan and the money that they bring. It was that angle. That's pretty much the summary of his angle, which is very disappointing because, listen, I like Josh Pate. He's a likable guy. He does have a lot of takes, but I'll say this, a lot of good takes at times. But him and JD Pickle, they both like to ride the fence. They are professional fence riders. They are, like, if you watch JD Pickle's show on 3, he is a professional click miner for all the fan bases. That's what he does. They make videos for every fan base. And especially for the Ohio States and Michigans and the big ones, they really milk that cow. So they're never really going to have a Colin Cowherd stance where Cowherd, he's mastered the art of getting clicks regardless of taking a dump on your team. He will drag your team and still know you're going to get clicks from he's going to get clicks from you. So he doesn't care about that. But my point is, in my opinion, I'm disappointed with Josh Pate for the take because to me it's disingenuous. It's number one, either you're ignoring the facts or you're just being disingenuous or intellectually dishonest. If you actually read the facts, either way, you're exposing yourself right now because you sound ridiculous. You couldn't have read this case and came away with that. Like, and then on top of that, when people push back against him, my good buddy Johnny from Scarlet and Great, he made a good point and said, hey, you know, he basically pushed back and said, look at these other programs, like I said earlier, that have been hit and whatever. And his response was kind of lame. He's not pointing to any evidence, any hard like evidence to say, well, this is why they're not. So it's just like, dude, like, what are you doing? Stop playing the whole company line thing. And you have a bunch of followers. They're eating this up. And to me, I'm just embarrassed for him. And the last thing, I don't know if y'all saw this on Twitter, Buckeye Scoop Twitter account, they retweeted what he said. And they basically said, hey, he's just, in summary, like he's just working for CBS or he's towing a line for his company. And Josh Pate retweeted it to respond and kind of, you know, push back on him. Point is this. It came to the point where Josh Pate challenged the Buckeye Scoop Twitter for a wager. The $500 was the figure. And so they were going back and forth. I don't think he ever responded to confirm, but James Yoder, his goofy butt, he responded, and that's on record. But anyway, the point is, he's coming off so arrogant and so confident that nothing's going to happen. But the way you're speaking lets me know you really don't know about this case. Either you do and you're just playing dumb. I'm Mello, I'm baffled, just like you, because I respect him so much that it's like I refuse to believe that he doesn't know. But it's hard to tell with these cats, man.
Yeah. They might have some interns writing some of their stuff for them because they're so busy and they have so much content every day. They might not be able to do it all. I really don't know, but like, I just, there's no way in my logical mind and how sensible Josh Pate usually is that I can fathom that he really believes what he just said. To the point where if he did, then he would have put his money where his mouth is when they said put 500 up and we could give it to this organization or this organization. He gave him two options. If I win, now what you do if you win, let's find out. But I mean, let's see if he responds. If he has the intestinal fortitude to put his money up after he challenges him, he's the one that brought up the bet to begin with. So you might as well stand in the paint, Josh Pate, and throw your money up. Like
I mean, Joe Clapp did this too, though. Joe Clapp was on the same Josh Pate stuff, defending Scum like to no end, like just defending them. Like it wasn't that big of a deal and didn't give that much of an advantage. The Fox Sports, you know, protect your Big Ten cash cow stuff. Come on.
Yeah, he literally said that.
from the team up north, though. His
Josh
boss literally graduated from there.
Josh Pate literally said the NCAA has lost its ability to take down major programs. It's like,
Come on, dog.
well, then why don't we just ask the major programs what changes to make in college football? Why don't we just have the major programs decide what the rules are? Like, what do you mean? The NCAA is all there is. There isn't anybody else. You know, the Big Ten Network, ESECPN, they're not making decisions on college. That's the NCAA. That's what they're there for. So, you know, when pretty much I watched the show, and what the narrative he was pushing is literally that the only thing that's going to happen to them is a fine. That's the narrative that he pushed. That's what I got. He said out loud, there's no postseason ban, there's no scholarship productions, but he didn't even talk about, unless I missed it, like vacating wins and stuff. Like I don't know. It's so wild to me because everything is so obvious, and it's, dude, if you look in this world, this happens all over the place. Yeah, Mike Green, thanks for the $4.99. He had another one up here too. I didn't read it yet, but he asked who the QB in DC will be. We'll answer that shortly. But he said, what makes me feel good is how happy they're thinking they will grow with these new recruits. The boom transfer central. Laugh out loud. I don't think I read that right. Did I read that right?
Yeah,
I think he was trying to say then, boom, transfer central.
Okay, I got so confused for a second. I'm getting tired, fellas. I'm gonna be honest.
You know what's funny though? What if they dropped the hammer on them like the week before the last week of the portal opening before it closes, and then they jump out and they can't even replace them.
Don't we have a time frame now? Isn't within 6 months, like according to the NCAA, a decision has to happen, right? Like the punishment has to come down.
Yeah. I mean, it's a range. Like the NCAA could technically respond. Like they have an allotted time that they can respond.
60 days is
but they can respond in 30 days. They can respond sooner than that. So
but the max is 180 days from now. So it's like July. That's the max time. They can respond anytime.
So it could be May or June. Yeah.
That's why I'm saying that what if they wait to the last week before the portal closes in spring and drop the hammer on them? So that way,
but to my understanding, it doesn't matter. If there's sanctions, then they have a window that they can transfer anyway.
Oh, okay.
So
then I'll wait till the portal closes altogether. You can't get anything.
Yeah, hey fellas, I'm gonna have to hop off here. In just a second. I'm getting pretty tired. You guys are more than welcome to continue. I know there's a lot more stuff to talk about. I don't know where you guys are at. You guys want to wrap this thing up? You got a few more things to say?
Listen, man, this whole thing gets me revved up. I could probably go another hour, but we probably should wrap up soon.
Yeah.
But I mean, but more to your point, I wonder if there's something that we can that's good to summarize with.
Well, I just want to. I'll kind of start a little bit and kind of remind people of everything that has happened. You know, there's a lot of details that aren't even be talked. The Connor Stallions on the Central Michigan sidelines, the other coaches, they lost. You know, they lost their jobs. There's so much of this that doesn't get like balled into one thing and talked out at one specific time. But there's so much evidence stacked against them, and I can't help but wonder. Like, do we know everything? Do we even know everything? I don't think it's possible that we actually even know everything that the NCAA knows, we don't. By themselves. You know what I mean? So knowing what we know and not based off of, we're not speculating, knowing what we know from the Big Ten and directly from the NCAA, it's over. It's just over with. C-Dub, thanks for, oh, wait. The membership for 1 month, champs.
Get your butt off that podcast, Dad.
Oh, you got this here. You got this here. I plead the fifth.
No, but I don't know.
Fifth.
I heard a little rumor about maybe some practice footage being hacked on some.
Yeah, that's the next
NCAA's computer across interstate lines, which is a federal charge, by the way. So, I mean, I kind of want to see the discovery so all of it could come out. You can't hide behind anything.
Yeah, there's the vacuum company with ineligible players. There's
the Weiss laptop, FBI. Like there's still more to come. This is just
the beginning.
The beginning.
Yeah.
The gambling ring, the pedophilia, like that man. Can you imagine being a team up north? You got your head coach who is a legacy, a legend, putting hands on the weight, strength, and conditioning guy. You got the gymnastic coach touching gymnasts inappropriately. Now you got this. Like everything you've done, this is worse than what was going on at Penn State. If you take the totality of everything, this is worse.
Yeah. It's bad.
It's wild. We're going to wrap up here. Let's answer real fast. Let's answer Mike Green's question just real quick. B. Moses, QB. Can't answer the D. We don't know the DC, but
I'll give you my prediction.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
All right, so it's going to be Julian Sand. QB will be Julian Sand. There's just no question about it. That's just what it is. Now he need to eat a few sandwiches and gain some weight over the offseason, but it's Julian Sand. And I think Matt Guerreri is going to be hired as the DC. They're going to keep it in-house, and they're probably going to do a co-defensive coordinator situation with Walton or maybe something like that. That is my
you stole
prediction.
mine, bro.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
You're just supposed to end with Matt G and then just let it go.
Well, he didn't steal mine because I think that they're going to make OG Walt the DC with Matt G, the little co-defensive. I think there's a little bit of seniority there, and there's a little bit of, I know that he didn't spend much time as defensive coordinator, but he did it in the NFL. So, and Julian saying, and I will push back a little bit on what B. Moses said. I'm not concerned with the size thing with Julian saying. I think that might be a combination of us seeing him come in at the end of the games and skipping some passes on the ground and, looking on camera. He looks like a super tiny dude. I'm not quite sure that's as big a deal as what everybody's making it out to be, but I'm also not a professional. But I would not mind him putting on some weight. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, I'll tell you like this.
Put on some
He's
weight.
going to be 220 to 225 by the starting.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's
no
They
question.
already got him on the game plan. He's already talked about it. He knows he's too small. He is too small. Like that's just a fact. He won't survive a whole season at that size getting hit, especially in the Big Ten. So he's definitely the QB1. He's going to be about 220, 225. And I got him solidly sitting in New York, honestly. And then I'm with Dev. It's going to be OG Walt and Cody with Matt G.
Well, there you have it. There it is. We went as long as we – I'm just kind of running out of energy. I'm not going to lie to everybody. It was a long day for me. B. Moses said we can go on for 8 hours on this. I want to – my mind wants to keep talking. It's just not going to happen, man. I haven't eaten anything, none of that stuff. So we're gonna
get to life, bro.
Yeah, dude. We're gonna wrap this thing up. I appreciate everybody watching. Chat. Don't forget to hit the like button. Go over there, check out B. Moses' page. Download his new song. He got popping off, man. Get that thing spreading around. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. You guys got any closing thoughts or statements real quick?
Yeah, what does 6'2" and 225 have to do anything? Muscle is leaner than fat, right? So he could be like 230 and he'll look like he's 220. Just to let you know. Muscle weighs 2.5 times the amount of fat does. So I don't really understand that comment.
B. Moses, you got any closing thoughts?
Yeah. Just keep laughing at Scum fans. Hit them with memes. Don't waste too much time on idiots like I do. I pick and choose. But just know we got the facts on our side. Stand firm. Educate yourself because we got the facts. And then like Dev said, you know what time it is the name of the song. Make sure you save it on your playlist and all your streaming services. We will be shooting the video in a couple weeks on Ohio State campus. We already got some dope spots to shoot it at. I'm super excited. And so, yeah, looking forward to that.
Heck yeah. Hey, if you guys didn't catch Pop's Pod, the show I did before this with Duke Pettijohn and Daniel Sanchez, go check that out, man. It was absolute fire. That'll be a bi-weekly show, so stay tuned for that. We appreciate you, fam. Thanks for joining us. God bless. Go Buckeyes. OH.
Ayo.
Ayo.